Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Omaha, Nebraska for game number 3, Kansas Club Baseball taking on the number 19th ranked Creighton Blue Jays, and we are quickly into things here in the first inning.
Still looking for their first win. Yesterday wasn't the day that the Hawks were looking for, but I mentioned a couple of times the momentum.
First pitch swinging from Jackson Pollock, the leadoff man.
And today it is beautiful outside. Yesterday was freezing cold. Look for the ball to travel a little bit more and look for more offense today.
Yeah, certainly a lot warmer today after the wind was a major factor yesterday, but it's Jackson Pollock leading off for Kansas. Here's the 0-1. He tattoos one through the gap, and Kansas quickly into the hit column. Jackson Pollock, after notching a couple hits yesterday in the first game of the doubleheader, gets things started with a base hit single here in game number 3.
Something we didn't see much yesterday, too, was the Jayhawks getting the leadoff man on. Now the second pitch of the game, and they already have man on first base.
A look at the batting order for Kansas. Jackson Pollock, of course, leading things off. Owen McGovern batting in the 2-hole right here as he takes that one a little high for ball 1. Eli Greenfield batting in the 3-hole. He's on deck right now. Andrew Swearingen cleaning things up. Aiden Day in the 5-hole, Jacob Bittner hitting 6th, Carson Kay will hit 7th, Ian Sherman 8th, and Nick Griffin rounding out the lineup in 9th. As that drops in for strike 1.
Nice get me over breaking ball to get your first strike of the count.
And a look at the defensive alignment for Creighton. Daniel Kleinsmith on the hill wearing number 44 for the Blue Jays. As that's swung on and fouled back. Behind the dish, Parker Flores wearing number 9. Cam Jutras at first. Second is Peyton McMillan. Over at third is Brady Schmidt, Charlie Schrage at shortstop, and then in the outfield, Henry Stanek is out in left. Center field is Drew Oleshko, and Alex Viegar, the leadoff man for the Blue Jays, is in right, as that's a little high. Count moves to 2-2 here. Kansas looking to negotiate another batter on.
I pitch there. Watch for something low in the dirt. Try to get him to chase.
As that is taken for ball 3, and the count is full.
Went back with the high cheese there.
So McGovern looking to negotiate his way aboard after the leadoff single. Full count. And it hits him. He wears one. Owen McGovern gets aboard. And quickly, Kansas has 2 men on. Eli Greenfield, who drew a couple of walks yesterday with an opportunity here to provide the Jayhawks with their first lead of the series.
You always hate it when that happens. You fight so hard to get to a full count, and then you get hit anyways. Always sucks when you could have just taken a ball 4 and didn't have to go through the pain of getting nailed.
So 2 on, none gone here in the top of the first. We're playing 9 innings today. We'll go the distance, as that's a little high for ball 1.
So early here in the first inning, they already look way better, already making some noise, something they didn't do much of yesterday.
The 1-0 is taken for ball 2. So Kleinsmith struggling early. He'll look to right the ship here, but Greenfield already quickly ahead 2-0. And he'll go ahead 3-0.
Don't imagine Otto takes on here. Full count, struggling early. Nobody out with 2 men on. Don't want to risk grounding into a double play.
3-0 with a chance to load the bases. And that'll be called for strike 1. Just caught the top of the zone right there at the letters. And you assume now it'll be green light on for Greenfield. We made that joke a couple times yesterday. 3-1, and he'll take the walk. So the bases are loaded here for Andrew Swearingen. An opportunity for Swear here to drive in some runs and keep this inning going.
Gotta take until you get a strike here, unless it's a beach ball right down the middle. 2 walks, a hit batter and a walk. Having trouble with command early.
Yeah, like we said, Kleinsmith struggling early with finding the zone. We'll see if Swearingen can take advantage of that. First one is left high for ball 1. And you pitched. What would you do if you're struggling in a situation like this?
You gotta just, I would probably find a pitch that's more comfortable. If my fastball's not working, rotate to some breaking ball, some off speed.
Second offering in there for strike number 1.
But you can't get in your head about when you're struggling. You just have to be able to reset and find the zone. You've done it your whole life. You know you can do it.
So here in a 1-1 count. Left down low, ball 2.
Sometimes guys, too, when they're struggling, they'll speed themselves up too much. You got to take a step, take a breath, slow down, and get your bearings back.
So count goes even 2-2 to Swearingen, and now he'll have to defend a little bit here. Still nobody away here in the top of the first. Kansas looking to pounce. Left outside, and it'll be another full count. The second one Kleinsmith has seen so far.
They're taxing him early. This is really good ABs out of the Jayhawks, making him earn it.
And the trouble here is Creighton doesn't have a lot of guys today, as the full count offering is swung through, and he got him. Swearingen down swinging, and there's one away.
Got him to chase on that one.
But as we were saying, Creighton doesn't have a lot of guys today. Both teams playing a little bit short-handed here on a Sunday morning. Of course, Kansas with more guys having traveled for this one, but yeah, not a lot of guys for Creighton, so you don't have a lot of arms able to throw.
Stay up too late doing their studying?
Something like that. Maybe they're just up watching March Madness, you never know.
Heck of a comeback by the Cougars.
How about them Cougs? Shout out Houston. Here's the 0-1. Is cracked but going foul.
You gotta add context while you're saying shout out Houston as you go to KU.
That's fair. Yeah, got some family in the H. I thought that was cool. I mean, I was kind of rooting for them once KU got knocked out. So the 0-2 now today. Taken low for ball 1. Excellent block right there from Flores. So on a 1-2 count, Kansas looking to strike first. As that bounces in front, and Pollock nearly caught in a rundown. He'll slide back safely.
They got away with one there. It should have been out. Creighton had a guy, the runner on second was about 3/4 of the way to the third base bag. They threw behind him. He was dead to rights.
Yeah, that could have been trouble right there. Nevertheless, back to a 2-2 count. Day has worked his way back into this one. This one is hit pretty well. Tagged through the gap. 1 run will score. They're going to send him. Here comes the throw to the plate. It's not in time. 2-run score. Aiden Day gets the Jayhawks off the deck here early. And Kansas has its first lead of the series. A 2 RBI single and aggressive send to bring Owen McGovern around from second, but he beats the throw. And it's first and second with 1 away.
There's that momentum. I kept on talking about it. I will keep on talking about it. Huge for the Jayhawks to finally have a lead in the series. Took them 13 2/3 innings to score yesterday. Now they're on the board early.
Jacob Bittner with a big-time cut, the first pitch he sees.
See if they can pile on.
Bittner takes that for strike 2. And quickly behind 0-2 in the count, here is Jacob Bittner, the 6-hole hitter. Carson Kay sitting on deck. 0-2, both runners go. Throw in the dirt. They throw down to third, but both runners are safe. A beautifully executed double steal.
I got 2 more in scoring position. Anything to the right side that gets through is more than likely going to score 2. Anything on the ground to the right side will get you 1. And obviously with 1 out, anything in the outfield, you're tagging and scoring.
So a big opportunity for Kansas here. That's called for strike 3, and there's 2 down. And Carson Kay was going to hit, but it appears that he is not. Oh, maybe it is. He's just wearing a different jersey. You don't see that every day.
That's club baseball.
That is club baseball. It's interesting. As I look at our roster, I don't see a 26 on the roster at all. So he must have just left his jersey and might be wearing an extra one, as that's called for strike 2. Okay, quickly behind 0-2 in the count. Ian Sherman, the catcher, sitting on deck.
Work yourself back into it.
0-2 from Kleinsmith. He took a stab at it, and they're going to say he went around. That'll in the frame, but Kansas scores 2. The Jayhawks with their first lead of the series as we head to the bottom of the first. 2-0 Kansas. Welcome back to Omaha, where Kansas got on the board first. Now Creighton will have an opportunity to respond. It's going to be Alex Viegar leading us off. Playing right field, donning the number 2. He'll face Owen McGovern on the hill for Kansas. His first pitch is in there for strike 1. Ian Sherman behind the dish for the Jayhawks.
Not often anymore you see a left-handed hitter. I feel like everybody is right-handed.
One of my favorite players, Jordan Alvarez, is a lefty.
I heard he's okay.
He hits the ball pretty well, here and there. A little high for ball 2 as we take a look at the defensive alignment for Kansas. McGovern on the hill, Ian Sherman behind him at the dish. As here's the 2-1. In there for strike 2. Andrew Swearingen playing over at first. Eli Greenfield at second. Third base is Aiden Day. Over at short is Nick Griffin. And then out in the outfield, in center, it's Jackson Pollock. Left field is Jacob Bittner. My apologies, didn't see him on there for a second. And Carson Kay out in right for the Jayhawks as that's tipped foul.
That one caught blue.
It's interesting. If you look down the first baseline, we've got a kid ump today.
Let's see if the little guy gets some action.
Hey, you don't see that a lot. Full count offering just outside, and Viegar takes a leadoff walk. So John Frost, the designated hitter, he had a pretty good day yesterday, and he'll take his first cuts of the morning right here.
Be interesting to see if he gets into a close call. If people are going to argue or if they're going to accept
I don't know. What would you do?
I don't know. I think it's club baseball, so at the end of the day, it's not the end of the world.
Taken for strike 1, Sherman popped up and looked back over toward first, but no trouble.
I think it's hard to say if you're not in the moment.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a weird spot to be in. I'd feel bad arguing with a kid, but at the same time, if he blows a call, I'm not going to be happy. Chopped foul for strike 2.
Could you imagine the trouble all your teammates would give you if you got ejected by a 7-year-old?
Oh, man, I'd get clowned.
They'd never let you hear the end
Those
of
would
that.
be some of the greatest chirps you've ever heard. I don't think that kid's 7. He's probably like 10, but still. Cracked back up the middle. Could be 2. Griffin couldn't make the play, and after a tough day yesterday, Nick Griffin unable to get either out. And there's 2 aboard with nobody away.
When you score and lead off like that, you get your momentum. You can't be giving them free base runners. It seemed to be a common theme yesterday is they just gave them free runs, and you can't have that against a team like Creighton. Still hasn't lost, 11-0, and the Jayhawks 0-9.
Excuse me. We don't have a cough button like the big leagues, so you just kind of gotta deal with it as that's taken for strike 1. Drew Oleshko, another guy that had a pretty good day yesterday, looking to bring Creighton back within 1 potentially. Taken for strike 2.
Nice job by McGovern to jump out ahead early, look for something low.
As that's chopped over toward first, McGovern will hustle to try and cover. And he's out. A quick call over at first, and everybody's a fan of that call. And I guess that kind of answers the question on a quick play. He's not going to argue with the umpire.
Nice job by the Blue out there, confident with his call. Creighton dugout it seemed like they were trying to sway his thoughts, but he stood firm with his call.
So the cleanup man, Parker Flores, now out behind the dish for Creighton, and he'll take strike 1. So McGovern trying to navigate around some early traffic. 0-1. In the dirt, ball 1. A good block there from Sherman. This is a Creighton team that had some pretty effective base running yesterday, as now Sherman will take a walk out to the mound and have a chat with McGovern. And I'm sorry, the leadoff man is Alex Viegas. The roster they gave us kind of looks like an R, but it is an S, in fact. So that's Alex Viegas over at third. Our apologies. So here in a 1-1 count to Flores. That's in there for strike 2. Shook his head. He didn't love that call, but he steps back in anyway.
Didn't see that a whole lot yesterday. Strike zone was a lot lower, but today looks like they're calling the high ones.
1-2. That one is pretty clearly high, and the count goes even at 2.
Maybe not that high.
Yeah, no, they're not going to give you that. Up at the eyes, maybe not.
I've seen some crazy things in my days of pitching.
That is true. 2-2 again is going to be chopped foul, and Flores stays alive.
Those were always the most fun when you had an umpire who was calling literally everything and just watching the other team lose their minds over it and probably knowing they're right, but they couldn't do anything about it.
Can't say I loved that as somebody who had to hit quite often. The 2-2. In the dirt, skips away, and a run's going to score with ease. Skips all the way over near the Kansas dugout. And the Blue Jays get one back. Everybody moves up 90 feet on the wild pitch. I guess that might have been a pass ball. It's a tough call right there, but that'll move the count full with 1 out.
Club baseball, we don't have the official scores. We don't have 10 people up in a suite somewhere getting paid money to make those calls.
I guess we'd be the official scorers, as that's called for strike 3. Flores watches it and has to take a walk back to the dugout. There's 2 down.
Be huge if they can get out of this without giving up that second run to tie the game. Reached on an error, and you don't want to give them free ones, especially against a strong team like this.
Yeah, to preserve the lead would be big for Kansas here, as Brady Schmidt steps in and takes that for strike number 1.
First pitch strikes are going to be a big one today. Got one there, looking good.
Chopped foul, and it's 0-2.
Looks like Sherman took one in the thigh there.
Yeah, that can't feel good. Good move by the umpire there to trot out to the mound, give him a second to recuperate. I used to catch a little bit, so there's always a cool little relationship between catchers and umpires. You're working back there together. The catcher kind of gotta protect the umpire, so there's a mutual respect between the two.
Freshman year of high school, I did a little bit of catching. I can agree with that. It's always fun.
Got him swinging, and Kansas gets out of it. Owen McGovern allows one, but preserves the lead. We head to the second, 2-1 Jayhawks. So back here for the top of the second, Owen McGovern able to preserve the Kansas lead, and it's going to be the 8-9-1 guys for the Jayhawks here. Ian Sherman leading us off, the catcher.
Got to tack on again. Keep on pouring it on. Keep the momentum moving.
Swings at the first pitch he sees, popped up on the infield, and there's one away. So after a tough first inning from Klein Smith, he'll look to recuperate here.
efficiency there. One pitch, one out. Always feels good as a pitcher.
So Nick Griffin will step in. The first pitch he sees is inside the shins for ball number 1. Griffin thus far having a bit of a tough weekend, but he's looking to bounce back today with a couple base hits potentially. That one runs inside once again. He jumps out of the way, and he's quickly ahead 2-0.
Klein Smith was able to get his first out of the inning on his first pitch. Couple balls here. Got to get back in the zone.
2-0 is hammered back up the middle. That'll drop in for a base hit single, and with one down, Nick Griffin is aboard. So back to the top of the order. Jackson Pollock already 1 for 1 today. He had the leadoff single. He'll look to continue that campaign. Klein Smith glancing over at first, now goes home with it. And that's left outside for ball 1.
I wouldn't be surprised if they try and put him in motion over there, get another one in scoring position with the top of your order up and one out.
Potentially, yeah, we'll see what happens.
Stay out of the double play.
They throw back to first, but it's not in time. And it looks like Kansas doesn't have a third base coach.
Don't need coaches.
Yeah, just kind of do what you want out here. It is club baseball, after all. 1-0. Left and called strike 2. Throw goes a little wide, and Griffin is in there safely with a stolen base. So just as you said, you called it there. Nick Griffin goes in motion, and Kansas has a runner in scoring position with only one away.
You mentioned the base coaches. There's a man on first base coaching over there, and Wise Man once said that the first base coach is the worst base coach.
Can't say I've ever heard that before.
You ever seen Coach Kent Murphy before?
Seen a little bit of his stuff.
Possibly the greatest coach ever.
And Klein Smith will step off.
He's getting in his head a little bit. See if he can't make a mistake over the heart of the plate, driving another run. They throw at him again. There's nobody there.
Nobody there, and Griffin will go right to third. And Mike Ray came stepping out of the dugout to try and be a third base coach. So all of a sudden, Kansas has a man sitting 90 feet away, heads up base running from Nick Griffin, and now, yes, Mike Ray is coaching third.
Caught his own guy napping there.
Goes home, swung on, popped foul. And it stays at 1-2, so Pollock defending the play well. Klein Smith glances over toward third.
Here comes a chase
He'll go home
pitch.
with it. And you called it. He did try and get him to chase, but Pollock holds off, and it's 2-2. Now is tattooed. Tough play over at short. They hold him at third, and Pollock is out. So 2 away as Klein Smith looks to avoid allowing that run from third to score. Owen McGovern will step in. He got aboard his first time up. First pitch to him is swung on and popped foul.
Not much you could do about that last AB. With good hard hit ball, good contact. Unfortunately, the infield was in, so you weren't going to be able to score.
Yeah, not a lot you can do right there. Like you said, hit really well. Just right to the shortstop. So McGovern working here in an 0-1 count. Lob. That one was lobbed a little over his head. Had to duck out of the way a little bit, and the count goes even 1-1.
Looks like the breaking ball popped out of his hands just about a second too early there.
1-1 is taken for ball 2.
Good eye by McGovern. Close pitch there.
back to it with the 2-1. This one taken strike 2. And McGovern will have to work from behind. It is a Sunday, so I'm getting the worst feeling that a student can possibly get, which is getting canvas notifications as McGovern slaps that one over the left side. Tough play, it's short, he'll pop up, but the throw's not in time. It was a great sliding stop from Charlie Schrage over at shortstop, but he couldn't make the throw in time. Griffin scores from third, and Kansas extends that lead back out to 2. It's 3-1 on the infield single from McGovern.
Didn't have much of a chance of getting him out anyway, but it's still a beautiful play just to keep that ball in the infield.
So Eli Greenfield will step up here. He watches the first pitch up high for ball 1, just above the letters it looked like. Tough to judge with some of these pitches sitting at this corner angle that we're at. Throw back to first. Andrew Swearingen on deck right there, getting ready to take some cuts. He's got the donut on his bat. Now he takes it off.
Want to be careful here throwing over at the runner. You got 2 outs. Don't want to risk throwing it to the fence and putting another runner in scoring position.
I was always told in a situation like this to just focus on the guy at home. No reason to, like you said, no reason to make a silly mistake that allows them to extend the lead. One-two now. Is chopped foul over toward the Kansas dugout, and it lands itself in the netting.
Putting himself together, a little bit of a fight. Driving up that pitch count here in the second inning. Nice job to be able to tack on a run.
And it's interesting. This is a very interestingly shaped field as the 1-2 runs outside for ball 2. It's basically a square.
Well, it looks like they got, especially here in the corner, they got lines for what looks like they used as maybe a practice soccer field too.
Yeah.
A mound you can move. And maybe even football.
I would assume you can probably move these bases as well. I don't believe Creighton has a football team, actually.
They don't have a football team. That is a great call.
Yeah.
Maybe they have intramural flag football.
Something like that. But I believe it's probably some sort of, assuming by the fact that this is in the middle of a lot of the residential buildings here on campus, I would think it's probably some sort of recreation field. I don't know if some of the people listening to this, if you've been to the University of Kansas, you've probably seen the Downs field. You know what I'm talking about, right there?
Every time I drive past, there's always some people out there kicking a soccer ball around with their dogs even, but I've seen lacrosse.
Yeah, I've seen lacrosse, seen soccer. My intramural softball team would actually do practices there. I don't know if it's sad to admit that my intramural softball team had practices and then only won, one game all season, 2 games maybe. We struggled, but it was fun. Full count.
Intramural.
Tagged over toward first, and he'll step on the bag. We go to the bottom of the second. Kansas adds another. It's back out to 3-1. So back here for the bottom of the second, Charlie Schrog will start us off, as it appears that Creighton has adjusted that batting order around. McGovern fires one in for strike one.
Didn't get to finish my story with the inning ending there, but I wanted to bring it back with the intramural softball. I got to play with one of my good buddies from high school this last summer.
Taking strike two.
In a men's league softball tournament up at Fort Leavenworth on the base, and we got beat by a pretty good margin, but that was some of the most fun I've had playing in a long time. Just everybody out there having a good time. If you mess up, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, it was a very fun season. Got to play on a team with all my friends. That's taken for ball two. Just a fun time getting out a couple nights a week, going and playing some softball. Sprained my shoulder at one point. That was great. 2-2 is hammered but foul.
How'd you sprain your shoulder?
I was playing second, and I went to dive for a liner and just landed on it weird.
Taking it serious, I respect that.
Of course. As that runs inside and hits him, and Creighton gets their first man aboard here in the second. So Cam Jutras will come to the plate now. One on with nobody away here in the bottom of the second, in a game that is certainly going to take a lot longer than yesterday's. Only 2 more innings, but yesterday's games, I guess, were both moving pretty quickly.
Wasn't a whole lot of offense yesterday. I think that has a lot to do with the weather. With it being warmer out, ball's going to travel.
First pitch swinging is going to get through the gap. He thought about going for third, but Schrog holds up.
And just to put it blank, people want to be here more. Yesterday, I think you could start to tell people were ready to go home. It was cold. Now with good weather today on a Sunday morning, you can tell people are happy to be here.
Definitely a much more enjoyable day as Peyton McMillan steps in the bottom of the order. Takes that inside for ball one. So some early trouble here in the second for Owen McGovern.
Both sides.
As he swings through that one, it skips back toward third, and Sherman will eat it. I'm sorry, it skipped back toward the backstop. Both runners will move up, and Sherman will just hold off on the throw. So with nobody away, McGovern's now going to have to work through some traffic. 1-1 runs just inside for ball two.
Another unforced error there. His theme yesterday. Don't want to let that become a theme today, but Sherman would love to have that one back as it went right through his glove.
2-1 is taken maybe a little high for ball three.
Hey, gotta be yours here, Niner.
Base open, don't want to give him anything too fat over the heart of the plate.
Swings through that one, strike two, and the count goes full. McGovern looking for a big-time no-out strikeout here, potentially. Anything to the right side will likely drive in a run. Runner tucks and goes as that's popped up but foul over toward the softball field.
Hard to imagine anything other than a fastball coming here pretty late on that last pitch.
3-2 is chopped through the gap. One run will score. Green light on, they'll hold him at third. So one run scores an RBI single, and with nobody out, Creighton right back in this, as it looks like we've got some extra hitters here for the Blue Jays. This is, I'm taking a look at their roster real quick. This is Abe Cardinal wearing number 11. Abe Cardinal, a Blue Jay. As Sherman can't hang on to that one. And McMillan successfully swipes second, runners back into scoring position here in a one-run ball game.
Another instance of the ball getting through his glove. I think he tried to transfer before he fully had the ball.
There's a term in football, it's running before you make the catch, and that's kind of what he did there, is that swung through for strike one.
Kadarius Toney mentioned.
Swung through strike 2, and Cardinal will have to defend.
Strikeout here would be huge.
1-2. And it's tagged over towards short. Can't make the play. And we are tied. Abe Cardinal, an RBI single, and now a bad throw. Nearly is going to send McMillan to third, but he holds it second. So the offense continues producing. And we're tied with nobody away here in the second.
I believe it was Griffin out there. You hear him yelling, "Eat it."
Called strike 1.
Don't want to let plays like that snowball and become much more damage than they could have been if you just hold the ball.
And we've talked this weekend a lot about the big inning. And it seems like this could be the situation for Kansas once again, as time is called.
And it's hurt them multiple times. Yesterday they mounted a 5-run comeback, but still lost by 4 runs. And you have to think, what if we made 2 more plays? How many would they have had then?
So we go again. Called strike 2. And Villegas didn't love that call.
That's a couple times now. He's not been thrilled with the calls. Could go either way. Just not in his direction that time.
Kicks and fires. And tags one through that left side. They're going to send a man home. Here comes the throw. Way in time. McMillan out at the plate. A beautiful throw. My goodness, had a little voice crack right there. Jacob Bittner, an excellent throw from left field, and Sherman, right place, right time to nab McMillan coming home.
Absolute hose by the left fielder there. That's a 3rd ground ball to that side in a row. And he was completely canned at the plate. Wasn't even kind of close.
That's called for strike 1. Yeah, an excellent throw from Bittner over there in left field, and Sherman perched in front of the plate, as that's going to be cracked foul.
I know it was a foul ball, but they're wearing out that left side, pulling everything. Means they're out in front of it, so maybe start to work in your off speed more and try and catch them way out in front.
0-2 is just kind of popped up in a weird spot, but it'll be caught, and there's 2 away. It looked like it would get down in no man's land, but a good play out in right field to corral that ball.
Happened on multiple occasions yesterday in right field with the sun at where it was yesterday. Ball's getting down, guys losing track of it. The sun is in a good spot today. You have a lot more vision out there, so expect more plays to be made.
So Drew Oleshko will step in here after the solid play from Carson Kay out in right field, and he takes that for ball 1. Down low, ball 2. 2-out hitting was a big-time benefit for Creighton yesterday. We'll see if they can replicate that this morning. Swung on, and it'll be over toward third. Stepping on the bag is Day, but Creighton squares things up as we head to the third. 2-2 or 3-3 your score, my fault. Back here in Omaha for the third in a 3-3 ball game. A lot of threes here. And it's going to be 3-0 Andrew Swearingen leading things off. Told him to go yard in the break. We'll see if he can pull that off.
He replied with, "This is for Trevor's resume."
First pitch he sees is left outside for ball number 1. Homer would be great, but if he can just get a board, that's all that really matters at the end of the day.
Base runners early and often.
1-0 is left down low.
An interesting thing I'm starting to notice, especially with this game being much more competitive than they were yesterday, the dugouts are rather quiet. There's a lot of chirping going on, a lot of talking back and forth, friendly banter.
2-0 hit pretty well, but it's going to go foul. And you mentioned, I think part of it is that Creighton just doesn't have a lot of guys today. If you look over at their dugout, I can see maybe, 7 or 8 guys only.
It's been a thing for both teams.
2-1 out in front of it.
As the Jayhawks had about 6-7 guys show up about, 30 minutes before game time. They're supposed to be here an hour, 30 minutes late. Nonetheless, they're here. And they've came out ready to go.
Here's the 2-2. Left outside, just kind of floated over the plate, and the count goes full 3-2. Aiden Day sitting on deck for the Jayhawks. The full count pitch is called for strike 3. Just caught the outside part of the plate. And Klein Smith picks up his first out of the frame.
Swear wasn't too happy with that one. Thought it was outside. And for me, it's hard to tell where we're at, but I think he has a case.
So Aiden Day will step in now, 1 down. Klein Smith kicks and fires. First pitch to Day. Tough play, kind of in no man's land on the infield. Runs wide. It bounced off the netting. A very lucky placement of that netting. Otherwise, it would have sailed onto the softball field.
No one saved him a free base. Very lucky there with some kind of screen up. Hit the very top of it, but kept it on the field. And a nice job by Klein Smith. First pitch breaking ball. Got him to roll over. Got exactly what he wanted, a ground ball. Unfortunately, fired it too high.
And it was just put in a weird spot. Like we said, that no man's land as Bittner swings through the first pitch. A little too strong for the pitcher to make the play. A little too soft for anyone on the left side of the infield to make the play. You got to come up firing, and it can lead to stuff like that.
Tough play for sure.
Throw back to first, not in time. So Bittner with a chance to keep moving things along here in the top of the third. And he swings through that one.
Healthy hack there, just a fraction of a second behind it. I'd expect that same thing coming back again.
So Bittner now is going to have to defend the plate a little bit. The 0-2. Little low, and it's ball 1.
Tough take there. That one was really close, especially with 2 strikes. Lucky to stay alive.
And we saw Flores behind the plate take a look at the umpire and confirm it was just a hair low. Now the 1-2. Down in the dirt, throw down to second, pretty good. And in time to get him. Quite a throw right there. Parker Flores nabs him on a bounce, and there's 2 away.
It was a good try to get another man in scoring position there, but it was an even better throw.
A textbook throw right there, and then a beautiful tag just to nab Day on the foot, says that's fouled back.
Be ready for a chase pitch here.
We got him.
High cheese.
We head to the bottom of the third. Still tied at 3. Back here for the third here in Omaha, and the camera just cut out a little bit. That certainly scared me. Heart in mouth moment right there. But McGovern is back to it, and he will face Parker Flores to start things off. Flores with an excellent throw from behind the plate to nab Aiden Day in the last frame. As he swings at the second pitch he sees, grounded softly over towards second, gobbled up, throw to first. And there's one away.
Nice job to be able to get quick outs. Bringing the efficiency is always good as a pitcher and helps you get deeper into the games.
So Brady Schmidt will step back in, the 5-hole hitter.
It also takes less of a toll on your bullpen, which is always nice.
And he takes that one up high for ball one. Kind of thought about poking at it, but he holds off. And it's 2-0.
That one was weird. He threw his hips, but his bat didn't move.
Strike one there, and McGovern will get one back. Swings through that one, a big-time hack. And we're even at 2.
It's interesting. He threw him a breaking ball and was very late on that. See if he can blow a fastball right past him.
Time is called.
Really frustrating as a pitcher there in your motion and calling time. You're always taught, even if once you're in your motion, you throw the ball no matter what.
2-2 is going to be ripped foul towards the Kansas dugout. That was Cam Foltz with a very nice play from the dugout. We go again with the 2-2. Froze him and just missed, evidently. Count goes full 3-2.
That one looked pretty good. Must have been just a little bit high.
I would agree with that. Full count. Is popped up toward right field, but caught. So one extra pitch in the at-bat, but it ends the same way it would have had the last one been called a strike.
Another test out there in right field today. Kay's been able to stand strong both times.
As we've said, the sun not playing as much of a factor this afternoon. As that is tattooed out toward right field, a beautiful piece of hitting. And he'll hold it first. It was a nice sliding stop from Carson Kay out there. And Charlie Schrag is aboard.
Nearly victimized by the short turf here. If he wasn't able to get in front of that one was going to the fence and probably would have been a triple.
So Cam Jutras will step in here with 2 outs and look to prolong this inning. A righty-righty matchup here. First pitch swinging is going to be lined the other way, pulled out toward left field, and everybody will move up 90 feet. A base hit single for Jutras, and the 2-out hitting coming back to life here for Creighton in the third.
A couple of 2-out knocks there, and you want to be able to get this guy. Can't let Creighton take the lead here. Need to get your bats back out there as quick as possible.
So Peyton McMillan stepping in here. He was thrown out going for home last time up on the base paths. And I'll take that one in the dirt for ball one. Called for strike one right there.
If you take a look at Griffin, he's pretty much on the third base, where the third base would be. He's playing for the extreme pull way over there on the left side.
Drops in for strike two. And yeah, they're trying to cover off that left field gap that's given Kansas so many fits today, as that'll run inside and catch McMillan on the back. And the bases are loaded here with 2 away. Creighton looking to come to life here with 2 down, as they have so many times this weekend. And Sherman will trot out and have a chat with McGovern.
Hitter's not on my lineup card here today. They must have added him late.
Yeah, they've moved some things around. I believe that Henry Stanek, who was originally in left field, is not. And this is Abe Cardinal.
I remember him hitting yesterday. He was at the bottom of the order. He was late.
Taken outside, ball 1.
Most of the time he was late, so see if they can remember that and challenge him here with the fastball.
Swings through the off speed for strike 1.
Beautiful break there. He was on time with it, just over the top.
1-1. Is chopped. It's going to go foul. And everybody will move back 90 feet to Creighton dugout, trying to convince the home plate umpire that it was fair, but it's pretty clearly not.
Tried to pull a fast one yesterday, too. That ball rolled in the dugout, and eventually they said he had to stay at third, but the runner scored, and they tried to bring him in the dugout and hide him. Close, but not close enough.
1-2. Is again chopped over down the line. This one isn't going to be a throw, so after the first one goes foul, this one stays fair. A run will score. Creighton loads the bases and drives one in entirely with 2 outs here in the third, and the Blue Jays have their first lead of the afternoon.
Really unfortunate when you get weak contact, but perfectly placed, speedy runner, nothing you can do.
Back to the top of the order, and that's going to be more damage. 1 run will score. Everybody will go station to station. And again, the 2-out hitting coming up clutch for Creighton. So John Frost, the designated hitter, will step back in, now with a 2-run advantage, and the base is still loaded.
Can be a real momentum killer. You have the last 5 guys in a row get on, all with 2 outs.
Tipped off the end of his bat right there. Foul off for strike 1.
When you were just 1 pitch away from getting out of it without giving up a run, and now you've given up 2 with the bases loaded, it hurts.
Certainly a tough spot for Kansas right now. Drops in for strike 2, and once again the Jayhawks will be a strike away from getting out of the inning.
Beautiful pitch there. Need 1 more, limit the damage.
Sent over towards short. He'll flip to second, but Creighton adds 2, and the Blue Jays have their first lead of the afternoon. It's 5-3 as we head to the 4th. So back here for the 4th inning of work here in Omaha. And it's going to be Carson K leading us off as Kansas is now playing from behind for the first time today. First pitch to him, swung on and sent over to the left side. Tough play over at third, but a good pick, and there's one away. Second inning in a row where it's been one pitch, one out. K retired, and now Ian Sherman will step in.
Be interesting to see how they come back here with giving up those runs last inning, giving up the lead. You don't want your energy to fall off too much because then it'll just get out of hand fast.
First pitch to Sherman. Just catching the inside part of the plate. And Kleinsmith out for his 4th inning of work. Runs ahead 0-1. Second one just off the plate outside, and we go even. Very light breeze blowing outward here. I can see the American flag over at the softball field. Now it's kind of settled, but a very, very nice light breeze, much better than yesterday, as that runs just inside.
Check my phone between innings, and it says it's only 44 degrees. It may as well be 75. This is absolutely beautiful compared to yesterday.
Yeah, it does feel wonderful. Sherman swings at that one, sent out toward left field, but caught on the run like a gazelle, if you've ever seen Bobby Crosby. You ever watch that guy on YouTube?
I don't watch much YouTube anymore. I don't watch much, really anything. I watch sports live on TV, but other than that,
Fair enough.
it's a lot of homework these days.
Yeah.
You know, when you got 6-7 assignments you got to turn in per week, it's just you don't have much free time anymore.
I've been lucky. Most of my classes have been fairly light on the homework. First pitch to Griffin is dropped after it ran outside, and he'll go ahead 1-0.
Be interesting there. It very well could have been a strike, but most umpires won't give you a called strike if you drop the ball as a catcher. So just interesting to think about.
1-0 now. This time they'll get him the strike, and we go back to even with 2 away. Yeah, I've usually got, 4 to 5 assignments per week, but most of it's fairly manageable. I'm able to knock them all out in a day or two. 1-1 drops in there for strike 2, just kind of floated it.
I began to notice a lot of the assignments aren't hard. They just take forever. And it's really, really sometimes difficult just to knock them out.
I can agree with that. The 1-2 up high, ball 2. I know we share Journalism 302, and that class tends to be a little tedious, but, we're in the home stretch on the final assignment of the year.
It's crazy how it's April 6th and we're starting the final assignment already, final project.
Yeah.
Makes me think it might not be too fun to get done, but
No. Not sure if my mom is listening, but she made a list of all of my assignments for the semester, like a checklist on Google Spreadsheets, and we'll get back to that thought in the bottom of the 4th as Griffin goes down swinging. Kansas still trailing as we head to the bottom of the 4th, 5-3. So back here for the bottom of the fourth, and it's a new pitcher out on the mound for Kansas, Max Rosencrans taking the hill.
Lucky enough to meet Max last night. He was our extra roommate.
And his first offering is down low for ball number 1. Yeah, Max shared a room with us, and it was funny. Before we get back to the story about the moms, you opted to make a bet on the floor. You had, what, 6-7 pillows out there, something like that?
Yeah, about 6-7 pillows. You guys were kind enough to share a couple with me, make a bet out of the floor, and you know, it really wasn't the worst thing I've slept on. I've slept in worse places.
Taken outside ball 2. Yeah, he had the extra blanket, had a bunch of pillows, just kind of posted up on the floor. I was like, all right, you know, whatever floats your boat. As that's swung on and driven out towards center field, but caught, and there's one down.
Not quite 7 stars. Maybe 6.7 out of 10. Pretty average. It could be better, but it could also be worse.
Yeah. But now back to what I was saying. My mom made a spreadsheet for all my assignments for the semester, so that's been really helpful. And I was looking over that the other day, and it's pretty much back-to-back weeks of assignments to turn in for Journalism 302 in this final project, as that's swung on and missed for strike number 1.
Got to find a different topic to talk about. There's about a 95% chance my mom is listening, and you know, back in high school, she'd send me screenshots just about every single day of the missing assignments I had, and you know, I always got them turned in. I had all A's, but she liked to be on me about it, and sometimes it was annoying, but I will admit, Mom, if you are listening, sometimes it was helpful, as much as it was annoying.
That pitch ran inside. He had to skip out of the way. Flores drives that one toward the outfield, but another one out towards Pollock in center field, and he'll haul it in. So 2 hard hit balls here from Creighton, but 2 flyouts to center. Jackson Pollock getting some work, getting some activity out in center field.
Nice job here by Rosencrans.
Yeah, thus far looking pretty good the first couple outs of this inning.
Maybe give the Hawks some new life. When your pitcher's shoving, you have a whole different kind of energy, and you want to back him up and get him some runs. It always feels good when you can help your pitcher out, and as a pitcher, there's no better feeling than when your team's giving you run support.
Schmidt jumps ahead in the at-bat, 2-0 here. And that one's fouled back towards the baseball complex. It'll sail over it appears. Short fence separating the field from the parking lot here. So anything that's skied out of play could be a little bit of trouble for one of the students that are parked in the parking lot behind us that's taken outside.
Certainly holding your breath, waiting to hear a big bang. You don't want to see your car getting shelled.
Yeah. Kicks and fires, and that one's fouled back toward the parking lot, just as we said.
I think you could argue that he's trying to.
Yeah, maybe. Rosencrans back to work. Runs outside for ball 4, and it's a 2-out walk for Schmidt.
Surely his car is safely placed on the bottom floor of a garage.
I think so.
Really important to get an out here. Don't let the 2-out walk hurt you.
Lasered and nearly a great play, but it's foul. Andrew Swearingen almost made a web gem over at first.
Creighton, they're unhappy. They think it was fair, and I think not. I don't think it was kind of close, really.
Now, I guess the only argument you can make is that he might have been in fair territory.
But if you touch the ball in foul territory, it doesn't matter where you're standing at.
As that's sent back up the middle. It'll drop in. No throw, no play. It looked like somebody tried to go for second. That might have been Griffin, the shortstop, who tried to make that play, but couldn't get there in time, and everybody's safe.
Kansas getting back into a little bit of trouble here with 2 outs. Saw what happened last time that happened. Need to get out of it ASAP.
Called for strike 1 there. As that's looped over toward third, they opt to go to first, and it pulled Swearingen off the bag. Here comes a runner home. Tag is applied, and he's out. Heads-up play from Andrew Swearingen over at third. Couldn't get the out at first, but he fires home.
Made a nice job fielding the ball. Got really lucky that they were able to get the ball home, because when he threw it to first, pulled the first baseman clear off the bag. No harm, no foul. We go to the 5th.
So back here for the 5th, and our stream wouldn't boot back up for a second. So Jackson Pollock, the leadoff man, stepping back in, 1 for 2 this afternoon. I guess it is still the morning, but he took that for strike 1. Healthy hack right there, but he falls behind 0-2.
Production guys back in the truck once again, getting us into some trouble here.
They need to lock in a little bit. 0-2 to Pollock. Left outside, and he'll get one back. It's 1-2. And we've said it a couple times, but man, just an absolutely gorgeous day here in Omaha. Sun is out, it is warm. It's so much better than yesterday. So that's left in the dirt, and the count goes even at 2.
Gotta add too, there's barely any wind, and it just makes it so much better. Like, so much, especially since we don't have a booth. Not only for the comfort and the temperature, but it doesn't screw with our mics as much.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, this is an interesting thing. I mean, I don't mean to sit here and say, oh, you know, we're doing something super unique, because there's other schools that do what we do. But in this Mid-America region, a lot of schools don't have this this broadcasting style thing. As Pollock drops that one in center field, and he picks up his second hit of the day. A lot of schools don't bring broadcasters or have broadcasters, so for Kansas to have us aboard is awesome, and it's been so much fun when we have been able to broadcast, when we've avoided these technical difficulties. We should be good to go for the rest of the season, hopefully, and we'll have some other people in. There's going to be some times late in this month that I'll be gone, and so we'll have a good buddy of mine, Daniel Schmidt, joining the broadcast alongside Mason. I believe there's going to be a couple games where it's myself and former Kansas Club baseball player and current voice of the Jayhawks, Tyler Bermundo, alongside me. So a lot of fun opportunities incoming here, but you know, one of the things when you're on the road is you never know what the setup's going to look like. So we've had to make some phone calls and see if places have booths, see if places have Wi-Fi, all sorts of logistics that you need to figure out in the world of broadcasting club baseballs that's taken up high for ball 2.
Shout out to Tyler too. He was the first guy I was able to get into contact with to be able to get out here.
As that just runs inside, and McGovern is quickly ahead 3-0. But no, it's been an interesting ride and getting everything set up. I was able to get the broadcast to run without a hitch in Sterlington for Wood Wars back in November, and then I went to set things up for our trip out to Rolla last weekend, as that's in the dirt for ball 4 to McGovern, and there's 2 men aboard with nobody away. Went to set that all up, and lo and behold, things were not working again, so I had to go to the J school and chat with them, and we eventually figured out how to get everything corrected, and now we are back to normal here.
So do we consider Tyler our executive producer out in the truck?
Potentially. I mean, maybe not. I don't know. That's a good question. I would say that because I'm the one who runs the stream, maybe I'm the executive producer.
But you're also the main commentator. Maybe you wear multiple hats.
You never know, yeah. I mean, set up the stream as that one runs inside. Set up the stream, do the broadcasting, helped design some of the on-screen graphics you see. We haven't debuted a lot of them yet. A lot of them are still kind of in the works, sitting in my Photoshop files. But the thumbnail, that was actually a Tyler designed one. And then setting up the camera and everything. So yeah, I guess you could say I wear multiple hats, but that's how it goes when you run a 2-man broadcast, and are kind of blazing new trails as Greenfield swings through that one for strike 1.
How are your GarageBand skills looking? We need somebody to make us maybe some theme music and take this thing up a whole nother level.
Kansas Club baseball theme song. I'll go on, Fiverr or something and get somebody to do that for us. Or I'll ask ChatGPT. Called for strike 2. I wonder what ChatGPT would say if I asked it to make a theme song for the Kansas Club baseball broadcast.
I don't know. I'm not having a great time with ChatGPT lately. Giving me a hard time on some of my quizzes. Not giving me 6, 7 out of 8 questions right. I need 8 out of 8 questions, and sometimes it's not getting me completely there. So we're gonna have a talk, but we're gonna get it ironed out, and we'll be back before you know it.
1-2. He's just lofted over the plate for ball 2. I mean, I don't know if I'd admit to using ChatGPT on the broadcast. That maybe
well,
isn't the
I'm not
smartest
using
decision.
it. I'm not using it for quizzes per se, but more so questions just about life in general, like
Of course.
Questions for
That's
example.
going to skip to the backstop. Both runners will move up 90 feet. They'll both kind of jog up there. A lackadaisical throw down to third, but everybody's safe.
Things to do around Omaha. That was a question I asked last night, and it actually led me to Council Bluffs, Iowa. It's a great, fine establishment of raising canes. Maybe they should think about sponsoring us.
Perhaps. As that's sent over towards short, tough play. Everybody's going to stay where they are. McGovern caught in no man's land, but there's no throw.
Just to reinforce my point about ChatGPT not always being right, when I said things to do in Omaha, and technically, Council Bluffs is 7 minutes away, and it's not in Omaha, it's in Iowa, so that's why it was wrong.
I guess it's more of a technicality thing. We did go to Council Bluffs to get dinner last night, so I guess that counts. I mean, it was an 8-minute drive from our hotel in Omaha to Canes as Swearingen pops that one up. It's going to get down in no man's land. 1 run will score. They'll hold McGovern at third. And Kansas is back within 1 here. Andrew Swearingen looping one out toward right field.
I don't think he could have placed that one better if he would have ran it out there and set it down himself. Beautiful placed ball.
Yeah, really just pinpoint accuracy on that one to drop it in between first and second baseman and the right fielder. So Aiden
got himself a ribby.
Aiden Day will step in now with an opportunity to even this game. The tying run sits just 90 feet away. Throw back over to first, and Swearingen is back in time.
Kleinsmith got the hitter to tip his hand there. He's showing bunt, so maybe the safety squeeze play is on.
Squares around again, and Kleinsmith will step off.
Playing some mind games now. What will he actually do?
Squares around again. He'll pull back, and that'll run inside for ball 1. So in the game of chess that is baseball, Day jumping ahead here.
They have the corner infielders playing in, but the middle infielders are back at double play depth.
Day with a nice hack out towards center field. It'll be caught. But here comes the throw. It's on line, but it's over his head. Toward the netting, Kleinsmith covered and made a nice play to recover, but Swearingen tags at first, and Aiden Day evens this one at 5 with a fly out. A sacrifice fly for the 5-hole hitter. And we're even at 5, and they're going to take a visit out to Kleinsmith on the mound before Jacob Bittner takes his hacks.
There were some questions about how the Jayhawks would respond after Creighton took the lead, and I think our questions were pretty much answered. They're fighting till the end. Another good inning, grab a couple runs, tie it up, and they're going to chase the pitcher out of here.
So that'll be day done for Kleinsmith. After 4 2/3, he allows 5 runs, and we'll take a break while the new haircut gets warmed up for the Creighton Blue Jays. So back here in the top of the 5th, 2 outs already, and Peter Behringer will step in and take the hill for Creighton. He'll face Jacob Bittner with the go-ahead run sitting on second. Left in the dirt, skips all the way to the backstop, and it'll be an easy trip to third for Andrew Swearingen, who's now 90 feet away.
For Behringer, from what I saw during his warm-ups, 3-pitch mix, fastball, slider, and a changeup.
So Bittner jumps ahead 1-0 on the ball in the dirt. That's left outside for ball 2.
Creighton pitching this inning is starting to get the yips a little bit. Let's see if the Jayhawks can mount their own 2-out rally.
They've done it thus far. We'll see what else is in the tank. The 2-0 is fouled back toward the baseball development facility. And that'll hit off the metal facade. So Behringer gets one back at 2-1. Left outside 3-1. And he'll have the green light on here as he looks to drive in Swearingen from third. Charlie Marshall now third base coaching for the Jayhawks. The 3-1. Left way outside, and Bittner will take a walk. Runners on the corners with 2 away now, and it's going to be Carson Kay with an opportunity to inflict some damage.
Not how you hope to start coming out of the pen. See if Kay makes him pay for it.
Throw back to first, and Bittner stays where he is. Ian Sherman now on deck. You've got the leg guards already on with 2 away. Runner sucks and goes. Pretty good throw from Flores, but it's a stand-up steal of second for Jacob Bittner. And it's 2 runners in scoring position now.
Looked like that was that tandem play that they sometimes run where they cut it off to try and catch the guy on third coming home. I don't think they were going to have him at second anyway.
Called strike. Just catching the bottom of the zone. I believe it's 1-1 now, yeah. So an even count here to K. That one's left down low in the dirt. And he'll jump ahead 2-1 now. Top of the 5th here in Omaha. It keeps getting warmer, but it feels wonderful. 2-1 pitch. Is left a little high. Ball 3. Flores tried to frame it. Couldn't get that done, and it's a hitter's count now to K. (3-1) green light on, and it's pushed foul. Just a little late on it is K. And the count goes full now, 3-2. An open base over at first, so you've got somewhere to put him, luckily enough. But Carson Kay would like to get aboard by any means necessary.
You got the 7-hole up. I think you just attack. Challenge him with a fastball.
He does just that. It's chopped. Tough play. Throw on to first. And the Blue Jays escape the jam, but Kansas rallies all the way back to tie this one at 5. We go to the bottom of the 5th. 5 apiece. Back to it in the bottom of the 5th. Kansas rallying all the way back to even this game, and Peyton McMillan will step in first for Creighton, as it's another inning of work for Max Rosencrans on the hill for Kansas.
Not a bad first pitch there, just barely missing the zone. Need a quick one here to get your bats back out.
as that runs a little high and it goes 2-0. Here is down low for ball 3.
It's tough as a pitcher when it's as much as you love to see your hitters doing good and drawing out at bats, scoring runs. When you're on the bench like that for a long period of time, it's tough when you come back out to find your bearings and get back in the zone.
3-1. In the dirt, McMillan draws a leadoff walk, so Cardinal will have a man aboard.
I know there was a decent amount of times for me that exact same thing would happen. You'd lose the first guy and you don't want to, but sometimes that's just part of it. And you got to come back and get the next guy and say, all right, he doesn't matter, because you know what you can do.
First pitch to Cardinal is swung through for strike 1. Rosencrans will step off and fire toward first. McMillan darts back in time. Kicks and deals. And Cardinal just behind that one for strike 2. Rosencrans looking for a punch out to get things going here in the bottom of the 5th. As that runs outside, a good play by Sherman to pop up and be ready to fire over toward first.
Tough to run on a left-handed pitcher like Max. Got a easier move to first base, and it's harder to read.
Poked the other way, that'll sit down for a base hit. Everybody moves up 90 feet, and Abe Cardinal, a 2-strike approach, and he just drops one out into left field.
Yeah, and that you just got to credit the hitter. He did a nice job to poke it out, get in front of it. Well placed, little bloop shot. Not much you can do. Credit to the hitter there.
So back to the top of the order with Alex Villegas.
Barrel one here, kid. Barrel one.
And Rosencrans will have to step off. McMillan darting around over at second.
You heard Swearingen say that the third baseman.
Swearing around a bunt, but it'll go foul.
So the hitter beat me to it. I was trying to say, they said the third baseman will stay home, obviously, with the force at third base. First base is going to be crashing anything on his side, and he's going to try and get the force at third with nobody down.
So looking to nab the lead runner here is Villegas. Left in the dirt, and the count will go even at 1. Outside, and it's 2-1 again.
Vegas being the leadoff, it looks like he's gonna have the green lights go ahead and swing away now. So he's not acting like he's gonna square.
Called for strike 2, and the count back to even. Rosencrans looking to limit the damage a little bit here.
Obviously now no bunt. If you bunt it foul with 2 strikes, you're out.
As that just runs inside, and the count will go full. Rosencrans looking to avoid loading the bases with nobody away.
Another close pitch that doesn't go his way.
As that's popped up on the infield. Infield fly rule was in effect, and it is caught. So 1 down in a pretty good situation right there for Kansas. Maybe not a strikeout, but nobody moves up and you pick up the out.
Now if you're Max, thinking off speed, thinking low, get a ground ball, roll you a pair, and get out of it unscathed.
Steps off. A good play at second. A good job from Greenfield to hang on to that one and prevent it from rolling into the outfield. But McMillan is back safely.
What is he doing?
First pitch to Frost is called for strike one.
Nice call out there by the young fella. He's getting his work in today. The umpire is.
Frost chops that one foul. And, I was thinking about a conversation we had yesterday where we were talking about how difficult it is to balance, broadcasting, running the scoreboard, all that. When we were in Louisiana, I was broadcasting, running the on-screen scoreboard, running the stream, making sure the camera was A-okay as that runs outside. But I'd totally forgotten that the tournament organizers asked me to run the scoreboard as well.
In the actual stadium?
Like the actual outfield scoreboard like you see out in right center. They asked me to run that as well. I had no idea what I was doing. Just kind of started pressing buttons before the game and figured it out. But I was balancing about 5 different things at once. It was a interesting affair out in Sterlington, Louisiana. 1-2 jammed foul.
The jack of all trades. He does it all, folks.
You know it. It's part of the job description.
He's like, oh, I'm going to do it.
As we can hear a solid contingent of fans behind us once again. Another pretty crowded day as both runners will score or will hold. A good play by Sherman to keep the ball in front of him.
It almost looked like it hit him on a foot there.
Yeah, it looked like it bounced it. I know it skipped off his mask. Frost is going to send that one out to center field. It will not get down in time, and
They're going to hold them.
Or it will get down in time, my apologies, but they're going to hold everybody. So both runners move up 90 feet, and it'll be bases loaded with only one away here. Drew Oleshko with an opportunity to give the Blue Jays the lead once again.
Not the ideal spot here, but you got the bases loaded. Anything on the ground, you're coming home, get the force at home, and you can go right back to first and still get out of it with a double play.
Oleshko swings at the first pitch.
Foul.
But it's foul. Tough to see in that left-hand corner, but everybody will head back.
Just a hair out in front of it.
And you could either go home with a ground ball or you could try and spin two the old-fashioned way.
If you get to the middle infield, for sure. I think if you're in the corners are already playing in, so
Yeah.
it's a much easier play at home.
So here in an 0-1 count, Oleshko again swinging at anything. And again foul. Looked like that one could have been on the line to me, but we'll
I
take
think
it.
he was just enough in foul territory. Definitely close. I would have let it go. If you're certain it's going foul, there's no reason to grab it.
Yeah.
Let it roll completely foul and don't leave it up to the umpire's decision.
Oh, 2 now. Again, chopped foul right back to us. I was ready. I could have made the play. Not like there's a net in front of me.
It's always funny to watch people get a line drive hit right at them and they still duck out of the way like there's not a screen in front of them. Instinct.
0-2 again. Hit out toward deep left field. This could score one, and it will with pretty much ease. Drew Oleshko, a sacrifice fly, and Creighton jumps back to the lead here with 2 away in the 5th at 6-5.
Most importantly, they got an out. You'll trade an out for a run.
Still 4 innings of work for Kansas to get that run back.
Rosencrantz got to do everything he can. You don't want to let another one score, as he's just standing 90 feet away.
First pitch is in the dirt. Rosencrantz working from behind in the 1-0, and he'll step off and throw over to first. A good play from Swearingen to prevent that from ending up at the fence. In the dirt again. Runner's going to come home with it. Sherman eats it. And a second run will score. Cardinal slides in from third on the pass ball. And it's 7-5 Blue Jays as both runners move up 90 feet.
That one's painful as a pitcher. You don't want to just give it to him. And I think the catcher should have had that one, Sherman. Nonetheless, it's another one for the Jays.
That's called for strike one. Flores opts to take. Rosencrantz will step off.
Once again, here with 2 outs. Don't want to focus on the runner too much. Want to focus on the guy holding the bat.
As that's chopped foul.
The hitter's the one that can hurt you. The worst thing that can happen is a guy on second takes third. But if you don't throw it past the catcher, he's not going to score anyway. So it's more important to get the guy at the plate. Don't be distracted by the runner too much.
2-2. Outside, and the count goes full. Rosencrantz trying not to walk another man aboard.
He definitely needs to get out of it fast. He's starting to lose his command.
3-2. Called strike 3, but Creighton gets 2. We head to the 6th. Kansas falls behind again at 7-5. So back here for the 6th, Kansas working from behind again. And it's going to be another inning of work for Peter Behringer.
8-9-1 for the Jayhawks, looking to start it at the bottom and keep the line moving.
Ian Sherman will lead us off, the man behind the dish for the Jayhawks. That's down low for ball 1 to start things off. Kansas looking to rally again after they got 2 back in the 5th.
As Rex Hudler would say, who's going to drive the bus this inning?
So that's called for strike 1. Behringer working from the stretch right now. As that runs inside, it looks like it skipped in the dirt.
Who is driving the bus? 1 base at a time. Keep the line moving. Give it to the next guy.
2-1 on the way. hearty hack at it, but he can't connect, and we're even 2-2. And he goes down swinging. Drop third, strike throw to first in time to get him with ease, and there's one away. So Nick Griffin will step in with one down. So Griffin stepping in, the first pitch he sees in the dirt, ball 1. A lot of chirping from Creighton's dugout, not much of a response from the Jayhawks. But that's taken for strike 1.
Taking the approach of maybe just showing him on the field.
I sure wish. Kansas continuing to hang around as that's called for strike 2, and Griffin is going to have to defend. Once who stays outside, and the count goes back to even. Griffin looking to start something for Kansas here with one away in the 6th. He'll drive that one, but foul.
Good job here. Be a nuisance. Pitcher knows it's the bottom of the order, and you hate wasting too many pitches on guys at the bottom of the order. So to be able to see a few pitches here is really nice.
So we'll try things again with the 2-2. Runs outside, and the count goes full 3-2. Full count offering. Taken down low, ball 4, and Griffin gets aboard here in the 6th.
Really nice AB. From a 1-2 count all the way to draw a walk, and now you got the top of the order back up.
So it'll be Jackson Pollock already with a couple base hits today. He'll look to continue his solid outing and an all-around solid weekend for the center fielder. Swings at the first pitch he sees, grounds it up the middle. Tough play, can't make it. Looks like the second baseman lost his sunglasses right there. Hat and sunglasses both going down for Peyton McMillan. But it's another single from Jackson Pollock, his 3rd of the day.
Staying hot. First pitch, hacking, punched it right through the middle.
So Owen McGovern stepping back in. He's a designated hitting now.
Beautiful, loud ping off the sound of the bat.
Left outside for ball number 1, and that's how his at-bat begins.
Not many sounds better than the sound of a crack of the bat.
Eli Greenfield sitting on deck right now. (1-0) here. Left a little outside for ball 2, a close pitch. But advantage goes to McGovern. Outside, and it's 3-0, an auto take incoming most likely for Owen McGovern. Looking to, you heard Charlie Marshall say green light on, so maybe he'll be swinging away here. A 3-0 pitch. Called for strike 1. Right there in his wheelhouse, and Marshall didn't love that take, but nevertheless back to a hitter's count at 3-1.
Don't want to help him.
Called strike 2 at the knees, close pitch.
So I was trying to say, struggling to find the zone. You don't want to help him, so I'm okay with not swinging 3-0. Actually, I recommend it, but There, I think he did everything right. Just unfortunate call there.
Yeah, close one. Looks like he just might have caught the bottom part of the zone. Full count pitch. Swung through, strike 3. Behringer, a good job of coming back after falling behind 3-0. So with 2 outs here in the 6th, Eli Greenfield will step in, and it'll be his opportunity to try and keep things moving along. Behringer steps off for a second, takes a look over at second. First pitch to Greenfield. Called strike 1. Behringer trying to settle in after a shaky start to the inning.
He's done a better job here these last 3 or 4 pitches, being able to find the zone, get a couple swings and misses. But from the Hawks' perspective, 1 swing, and you're down by 1.
Checks his swing, called strike 2. And Behringer looking for a big-time punch-out here. O2 pitch on the way. And it runs outside. Both runners decide to hold. A tough spot right here because Kansas has just been oh so close over the last couple innings. Granted, they added a couple to tie in the 5th, but it feels like every inning they're getting a couple guys aboard. They just can't do much with it. As Behringer steps off again, he's checking Griffin back there at second, and Griffin seems to be getting in his head a little bit.
I've seen it on both sides. I think it's just too much worrying about the runners. You got 2 strikes with 2 outs. It's just go. You don't need that at second base.
Yeah, no reason to worry about the runner with 2 outs. Runs inside again. Griffin will hold at second. Flores popped up and was ready to fire.
See, and what I don't like about that is that now I feel like he's kind of he's in a rhythm, and when you keep on stepping off to look at the guy at second base, it throws you off your rhythm. Just need 1 pitch.
2-2 to Greenfield. Called strike 3. Kansas strands 2 as we head to the bottom part of the 6th. Still 7-5. Bottom of the 6th on tap, and it looks like the battery that we chose to plug in evidently is also the only other battery that is low. So I'll pop over there real quick and go change that battery. I'll have Mason take some play-by-play while we do that.
So while Trevor's out in the camera truck, Rosencrans deals a ball high at the eyes. This one's high in the air, deep to right field. Going back to left fielder at the wall. It lands on the warning track. And they're going to hold him at second base. So he's got a stand-up double. Nearly a home run from Brady Schmidt. As the Creighton dugout is giving him a little bit of trouble over there. Saying he should hit the bench press. So after the leadoff double, it's Henry Stanek. Lefty-lefty matchup. First pitch. In for strike one. Rosencrans deals his 0-1. Cut on and missed. Foul tip back into the glove. High pitch there. And it's 0-2. Interesting to see what the choice of pitch is here. It's a slider, cut on and missed. Struck him out. What? So they said he dropped it. I certainly don't think he dropped it. Did he, Trev?
Interesting. I did not see.
So the runner moves to third out of it. I'm sorry, I'm not quite sure what happened. Nonetheless, there's a man on third with one out now. Cam Ditcher's a half swing, and it's a called strike one. Out of the windup, hop straight up into kind of the Bermuda Triangle in right field. It's the right fielder calling, runner tags. The throw is not in time, and it's 8-5.
It was a great throw from Kay out in right field, just not in time to nab the runner.
It was hit kind of in the no man's land of that Bermuda Triangle between the second baseman, the center fielder, and the right fielder. And the throw was about a second late. But there now are two away. So Rosencrans out of the windup. First pitch is in there, strike one. He's able to reset, nobody on. The 0-1 is lined deep to left field again. At the wall, it hits the base of the wall. Another deep one, he's rounding first, and he's going to be in with another stand-up double. As he gets a shower of boos from the Creighton dugout once again, and he'll do a couple push-ups on second base. Second time this inning, the Jays have been oh so close, just not quite close enough. It's down to the bottom of the lineup now. It's Cardinal. And he watches the first pitch come in low for ball one. Another one's low. Another one low for ball two. Rosencrans just needs to settle in. Nothing hurt. It just needs one more out against the 9-hole. It's chopped down. It's the third base line. It's going to roll just foul. As Cardinal was just inches away from another chopper perfectly placed for his infield single.
We'll see if he can replicate what he did last time and chop one for that infield single now after the tough foul ball.
Rosencrans' 2-1 offering is a slider hooked foul. It was good contact. He hit it hard. Solid line drive, just half a second too early. So 2-2 with 2 outs and a man on second in the bottom of the 6th. Cut on and missed strike 3, and that'll do it. Another run for the Jays on a couple of long doubles. It's 8-5.
So back to it here in Omaha, top of the 7th on tap for you guys as Creighton continues to lead this one 3-0. It's going to be Andrew Swearingen stepping in. Drove in an RBI the last time.
Much better job by Kansas so far, putting up a fight, getting the leadoff man on.
The first pitch Swear sees is up high for ball number 1. Just went and took a look. Kansas baseball playing right now. The Jayhawks are up 3-0 on UCF in the top of the 1st, as that's left outside for ball 2.
Schwab Field just a couple blocks away. Maybe we'll be fortunate and see them make it here in June, huh?
Yeah, I sure hope so. We could see the front gates to Schwab from the window of our hotel room, as that's called for strike 1. And I was talking to my dad this morning, showed him the view, and said, man, it's going to be great to be back here in 2 months when Kansas baseball is playing in the College World Series. Trying to speak it into existence a little bit. Here's the 2-1. Called for strike 2. Again, just lofted in there. As our camera should be good now to go the distance. Replace the battery back in the bottom of the 6th, so just a little bit of go. Here's the 2-2. Is Pierce back up the middle. Good play by the second baseman. Fires to first. And there's one away. So quickly 1 out here in the top of the 7th as Kansas is running out of time. Only 8 outs to try and pick up the 3 runs they need.
Just pivot back to Kansas baseball real quick, as you mentioned earlier. There's a lot of chatter around this team. Everybody on campus, there's a lot more interest than there has been in recent years. Had their largest crowd ever just a couple of weeks ago.
A hearty hack there from Aiden Day as he tries to chase after the breaking ball. Couldn't get it done.
I'm sure as of now everybody's all seen the new hashtag that's been created about Hoagland Park, and
I will choose not to comment on that as Day pops one up toward right field. It'll be caught, and there's 2 away quickly. Jacob Bittner now will be tasked with starting a 2-out rally.
Gotta think it is quite funny, as immature as it is.
I would agree.
Saw Big J holding a sign.
I did see that as well.
Gave me a good chuckle.
First offering to Bittner is going to clip him on the knee, it looks like. Might have just caught him, and he'll take the walk down to first. So 1 aboard here. Yeah, it looks like it might have just tacked him on the leg. And that'll allow Carson Kay to come up and try and continue this 2-out rally.
It's always funny to see when the hitters barely get hit. Sometimes they'll say it doesn't hit me. They want to stay in the box and they want to have a shot at getting a hit. More fun to hit than it is to walk.
Bittner tucks and goes. Throw down is not there. It rolls into the outfield, but Bittner holds on second. So green light on the base paths, and Jacob Bittner will swipe second.
See if they can scratch back, get one here. They got a man in scoring position with 2 down. Anything in the outfield, gotta imagine they're sending him.
All about trying to chip away at this lead, as that's going to go foul. And I heard one of the infielders for Creighton call that the Abe special. Abe Cardinal, of course, picking up one of those a few innings ago.
Just a couple inches away from another one the last inning. Knowing his speed, he would have probably beaten it out.
1-1 here is again chopped foul. It'll skip off the catcher, and the umpire will pop up and give him a second to recuperate. We'll go back to it in a 1-2 count. Kay fouling off a couple. We'll see if he can time one up.
Be a tough out here.
And he'll ground one, trying to get that Abe special. Hustling down the line, but he's not there. Kansas strands a man, and we're stretching here in Omaha. 8-5, Creighton, your score. Back here in the bottom of the 7th. And it's going to be back to the top of the order. Alex Villegas leading off here for Creighton.
Rosencrantz out for another inning of work, looking to shut him down, get his bats back out, and see if they can't mount a comeback.
Notches a first pitch strike here. And yeah, not a lot of time for Kansas to try and work their way back into this one. As we're quickly approaching the 2.5 hour mark, so moving along at a pretty decent pace. As that's called for strike number 2.
Exactly at 2 hours, 22 minutes.
Would you look at that?
Crazy twos.
As that is chopped foul back into the screen. Conclusion of this game, Kansas will hit the road, make the trip back to Lawrence. Only about a 3-hour drive, nothing too crazy. 2.5. As that seemed like it could have been there, but it's called for ball 2.
Mom, if you're still listening, not to brag or anything, but I bet I could make that drive in about 2 hours, 15 minutes.
I don't think my mom would be very happy to hear that I did that.
Not that I will, I'm just saying I could.
No, in theory you could.
Anything is possible these days.
Anything's possible. Villegas drives that one toward right field. Kay will go back and make an excellent grab. Nearly tumbled over. Couldn't tell if he made the play, but he hauls it in. Carson Kay, very consistent out in right field there. And we've got a swap as Peter Duma is going to take over at shortstop for Nick Griffin. He'll likely inherit his spot in the bottom of the order. So the designated hitter John Frost back to the plate.
Heck of a play by the right fielder. Kind of weird looking play, but he's able to snag it at the very last second.
Drops in for strike 1. That off speed starting to work here for Max Rosencrantz in the 7th. Driven over toward Duma, who just entered the game. He'll fire toward first. He bobbled it a little bit, and it will not be in time. Frost beats the throw, and there's one on with one gone.
It's an old saying in baseball, the ball will find you. And the new guy is victimized early. So now there's a man on.
Just a little low on the first pitch breaking ball.
Good looking breaking ball there. I don't hate that. Trying to get him to roll over and a ground ball double play and maybe end it.
Popped up, back out toward Kay. He'll call off Greenfield and make the play. So after fits in right field yesterday for Kansas, it's been much improved this morning. I guess we are into the afternoon now. It is 12:30. As Parker Flores will step back in. First pitch swinging, and again sent out toward really no man's land. A great play by Eli Greenfield right there to haul it in. And Kansas puts up a donut here in the 7th. We go to the 8th. Kansas looking to work their way back into it. And apparently I accidentally closed out of Streamlabs, so I certainly hope you guys could have heard me there. We go to the 8th. Top of the 8th incoming here. Kansas looking to work their way back into this one, trailing by 3 still. And it's going to be Ian Sherman leading the way here for Kansas in the 8th, wearing number 8.
In the 8 hole.
A lot of 8s there. It'll go 8, 9, 1. Duma taking over at the bottom of the order, and then Jackson Pollock, the leadoff man, looking to pick up a 4-hit day.
Need to get at least one. They love 2, 3, 6, 7.
Yeah. Up high, and Sherman ducks out of the way. Ball 1.
But you got to have at least one here. You got 6 outs to work with. You make it more manageable.
As that's going to run in and catch him. Clearly didn't feel very good. Hit him in the small of the back. Might have hit him on the butt.
They'll take the free base. The leadoff man is on.
And it's a new pitcher on the hill for Creighton. That is number 1, Jacob Batson. So Peter Duma steps in as that's in the dirt. Skips past the catcher, and Sherman is in safely to second.
First AB of the day, now he's got a man in scoring position, looking to spark the rally. Who's going to drive the bus? Is it Peter Duma?
.1-0 incoming. A little high, a good play by the catcher to prevent that from going back to the backstop again.
For me, take signs on. Had a little bit of trouble with commander.
That's going to catch Duma. That didn't feel good, and quickly 2 hit batters out of the bullpen for Batson. Mike Ray said, "You can't do that. It's going to kill him."
Not the ideal or conventional way for the Jayhawks to get their runners on, but now they got the top of the order.
And this is the tying run at the plate. 5 runs. Runs 6 and 7 on base right now.
At the very least, they got a couple men on with bruises probably tomorrow, but take the base runners any way they can get them. Keep the line moving.
Back to the top of the order, Jackson Pollock, who already has 3 hits today. He squares around a bunt and he'll just kind of stab at it, but it goes foul. I believe he's 3 for 4. I'm not sure though. 0-1 incoming. Watches strike 2.
Nice breaking ball, able to catch the outside half of the plate. Looking to see a few more pitches, be a tough out.
And he'll take a stab at that one. Tough play. Throw to first. He slides. And he's safe. Head first slide into the bag. Jackson Pollock. An infield single. Time is called. Jackson Pollock, a hard 90.
So there it is. This is what we were talking about.
This is what we talked about. Do you argue with the kid umpire? And
it was a close one. It was a tough play. Hard for us at our vantage point to tell if he was there or not. Obviously, it doesn't matter if he tagged.
Obviously, no replay or anything. And we'll see what happens here. An interesting scenario is John Frost has a chat with the umpire, and now Shayton Wright will take a walk on out here.
Pollock, he's telling him, he said eject him.
Yeah, Pollock calling for the ejection, and I'm sure everybody in that Kansas dugout would love to see it. A close play at first. Tie goes to the runner, and they're going to call him safe. Kansas dugout loves that. And the rally continues. Bases loaded with nobody away after the Superman dive from Jackson Pollock.
Props to the little guy again. Staying firm with his call. He's not going to take any crap from anybody.
Sticking with his guns. You love to see it right there. And the bases are loaded with nobody out for Owen McGovern. Runs inside.
I feel like it's only respectful, necessary to bring in the Eric Cartman reference when he says, "Respect my authority."
Called strike one there.
That's what I have to imagine the young man out there was saying.
Yeah.
Creighton was trying to give him trouble.
Credit to him. Standing up to a bunch of college kids and sticking with his decision as that one buzzed the tower a little bit for McGovern. He'll jump ahead 2-1.
A little bit of chin music, brush him back a little bit.
It was more like brain music. That was up at the top of his noggin. Swings on that one. Could be two. They're going to go home with it. So they get the force at home. Fielder's choice for McGovern. And there's one away. So Eli Greenfield steps in, and he'll look to try and bring a run across.
They'll still have the corners in the middle is that double play depth.
A lot of green grass there, but this could be the double play they were looking for.
Nobody was covering
Nobody covered first, so they'll get the force at home again, and all of a sudden there's two down for Andrew Swearingen.
Blue Jays could have easily had an inning in double play. There were about three guys in blue shirts over there, and not one of them wanted to cover the bag.
So after loading the bases with nobody out, Kansas looking to avoid a noble tiger. That term, if you're wondering, is a no outs, bases loaded, ends in team unable to get an easy run. It's a very long acronym that is popular within baseball communities on the internet. The noble tiger. 'Cause that's outside 2-0.
Can you bet on that?
I'm sure you can. I mean, it'd probably be a very situational bet.
Pretty high odds. You know, the Nerfy, the no-run first inning.
Yeah, it would be something akin to that, but I feel like it would be more of a, you can really only bet on it if the case is the bases are loaded with no outs.
I don't know if we're allowed to say that, but there's a possibility I've fallen victim to the Nerfy bet a couple of times in my
That
life.
happens. I can assure you we are allowed to talk about betting on this broadcast because I guarantee that there's nobody gambling on club baseball. Well, I shouldn't say nobody. You never know. 3-1 called strike two.
I would beg to differ because yesterday I remember there was a Creighton player talking about buying somebody else a 30 rack if he hit a double.
I think it's a little different. I think it's probably more of a, you're not going to find a lot of club baseball on Prize Picks.
And a 30 rack of Sprites, too.
Of course. As that's pierced out towards center field, but it'll be caught. And there's the noble tiger. Kansas leaves them loaded